Welcome back in the Crossfire tonight. We've got two senators, John Tester and Roger Wicker. Now look, a foreign corporation called TransCanada is using three big myths to sucker the American people, including everybody at this table, maybe you at home, into supporting a special interest boondoggle. It's called the Keystone Pipeline. Please do not fall for this. Myth number one, they say it's going to create a bunch of jobs. Actually, it's going to create maybe 3,000 temporary jobs and 35 permanent jobs. Myth number two, it's all about oil. Actually, this pipeline would carry a toxic goo of tar and chemicals that's 20 times dirtier than oil. And the last time one thing leaked, it cost $1 billion to clean up, and the Kalamazoo River is still a mess. Number three, it's all about energy independence for America. No, this pipeline goes from Canada out through the Gulf Coast. This stuff in the pipe, it's not headed for your gas station, it's headed for China. So, you, my hero, my senator, my Democrat.
Oh, he's buttering you up.
How can you fall for this complete farce? I cannot believe you support American farmers risking all of this to make a foreign corporation a lot of money selling dirty crap to China. I can't believe it.
A couple of things, Van. First of all, you're right, the jobs are temporary, but the tax base it creates is not, and it's significant. The third thing is, look, it needs to be done safely so there aren't the breaks in the pipeline. No mistake about that. It needs to be done safely, and it's a heck of a lot better having oil going through a pipeline than on trains blowing up like we saw in North Dakota. The third thing is that private property rights need to be respected. We don't want this foreign corporation running over any property owners in the country. And the last thing is, and I've got an amendment to do this, we ought to keep it in the United States. Well, we ought to keep it here to support working families and businesses and help contribute to the.
But here's what I think is really unbelievable. Unbelievable. Everybody says it's about American energy independence and we should be relying on Canada. And this corporation has refused to promise to keep it here. Every plan they have is to get it to a port to China. And you guys have not stood up on that loud enough. I don't believe it.
Okay, well, we'll bark louder. The other thing is that we happen to have a pretty big play happening in western North Dakota and eastern Montana called the Bakken play, which there will be arm wraps for that oil, which keeps it off of trucks in the tube. So there's a lot of reasons for it.
Last question
The final thing is
Yes, sir.
this. I still farm. When I go to the tanks and put fuel in my tractor, I don't have any options. We haven't invested the research to develop different sources of fuel for farming or transportation fuels that we need to, and I will agree with you on that, because I'm sure you agree with that.
How will you clean it up when there's a leak? Pipes leak, that's why we have plumbers. In Kalamazoo, you talk about that train. Kalamazoo, Michigan, they had a pipe, it leaked $1 billion, 5 years later, still a mess. It can't clean up tar.
It's got to be done right from the get-go, and that's a big issue.
Fair enough.
Well, and isn't there a political play here? I mean, if you talk about Democrats running in red states, if they're going to oppose it, if the president's going to oppose this, isn't he basically kissing the Senate goodbye?
I think it's true the American people are very much in favor of this, and Van is in
even Bill Clinton's in favor of it.
Minority. Van, what's wrong with construction jobs?
Oh, I love them.
Actually, the figure I've seen has been pretty well substantiated. It's 42,000 construction jobs.
No. It's 42,000 direct, indirect, and induced. It's actually 3,900 construction jobs. And I love those jobs, but I can get you a lot more without risking our farmland with other projects.
And the other point is, hey, let's get back on those figures. But the other point is, you didn't say it was going to harm the environment, because I guess that argument has been pretty well debunked by the State Department the other day, which said that the building of the Keystone XL pipeline would not hurt the environment, would not cause more of this horrible carbon dioxide, which you've been so concerned about.
Well, we will continue this argument the next time we have you on the show, because I could dispute that as well. But as long as we are talking,
you doubt that the State Department said what it said?
No. Well, here's what the report says, that if they're able to build the pipeline through Canada, then it's going to come out anyway. But there's big opposition in Canada as well. So nobody knows what's going to happen. What we do know is that Americans are not going to benefit from this pipeline. But I want to move on to another topic. Now, we are about to be in the middle of a big election season. It seems to me you guys are feeling kind of confident. You might be able to take the Senate. You might be able to grow your majority in the House. But you guys can't get your act together. Look at this circular firing squad you guys have going. I want you to respond to this. You got a group called For America that's putting $6 figures to knock out your entire leadership. Aren't you concerned that these groups coming out of the woodwork, attacking all the established Republicans, are going to ruin it once again, give you guys candidates that can't win general elections and leave us in power?
First of all, I'm not overconfident. I am hopeful. I think there's the 6-year itch. I think there's Obamacare. I think there's a terrible economy that we can improve on.
What would you say to these crazy groups, though?
I would say to them that we ought to concentrate on replacing the Senate leadership. I saw the tweet from For America. It said, replace Senate leadership. And I said, right, Harry Reid's got to go. And then I started reading further, and it said, Mitch McConnell's got to go. John Thune's got to go. John Cornyn's got to go. I would say to those people, quit taking money away from conservatives and spending it to hurt to help the Democratic Party, which is what they're doing.
Okay,
and spend your money to help Republicans beat Democrats in the November election.
Okay, we need to switch gears because there's one thing that we haven't really talked about, and it's particularly important because we're 3 days away from the Sochi Olympics. And as I see it, we are trusting Russia to keep our athletes safe. We're trusting Russia to secure chemical weapons in Syria. And we're trusting Russia to sit at the table during our negotiations with a nuclear Iran. Why? Why have we empowered this bad actor with a history of horrible human rights abuses and a penchant for wanting to stick its thumb in the United States eye, and someone who is currently harboring a United States criminal? Why have we given them so much power? Is that a mistake?
Well, I think that they're a player on the international scene, that's why.
No, but
I
we've made them a player on the
can't-
international
no,
scene.
No, they've been a player for a long time. They were a bigger player before, but they're still a player. And I think that in order for diplomacy to work, you need to have a coalition of countries together to do it. They need to be part of that coalition.
Even Secretary Kerry says that the plan in Syria is failing.
And that may be true, but the truth is you still have to try to know. I mean, what's the other option? To go in and bomb? I don't think that went over real well when it was put in front of Congress. So the fact is diplomacy is something that we need to utilize. If diplomacy doesn't work, then you restart and head another direction.
Are we going to pay for trusting the Russians too much?
Okay, well, let me tell you, the Congress didn't vote to put the Olympics in Sochi. I mean, this is the
Sure.
Olympic Committee. I dare say the United States has some security assets somewhere around close there. The other thing is Russia has a seat on the UN Security Council.
That's right.
They can veto almost anything we
That's
try
right.
to do. So we necessarily have to deal with them when we're talking about things like Syria, Iran,
I think this
and
is
things
going to
like
be a
that.
huge mistake in the future.
Don't trust, but
verify.
But verify.
I don't verify or trust.
But if
when it
you
comes to Russia.
if you cut them out of the equation, you know it's going to fail.
We'll see where we end up in Syria.
But that's the reason.
All right, stay here. Next, Van and I will reveal our outrage of the day. Do we only have one? Would you believe somebody's telling school kids they can't feed the poor? We also want you at home to weigh in on today's fireback question. Should President Obama approve or reject the Keystone Pipeline? Tweet approve or reject using #Crossfire. We'll have the results after the break.